Hello and welcome to another video. This is gonna be a life update because boy do I have some updates for you guys. Today we're gonna be talking about why my husband and I are packing up our lives after only living in the city for 1 year and moving back to a small town. We're gonna be talking about what job I am getting back in that small town. We're gonna be talking about how that job is a 40% pay increase. It's at the executive level, which currently I'm at a very entry-level position, and I'm moving up to an executive level position, which is very exciting. We're going to be talking about how I survived 6 interviews in a little over a week, and we're going to be talking about what the future looks like for me and for this channel and all of those things. Let's get into the updates. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with why we are moving. So if you have been following along on my channel, you know that our lease is ending at the beginning of September, but I've been kind of secretive about where we are moving. But we are moving back up north in northern Indiana. Currently we're living in Indianapolis, Indiana, and we moved down here about a year ago when our lease started, so last September. And after not even being in here for a year, we are actually moving back up north to our hometown area. And the reason for that is largely because my husband does not like living in the city, but also because ultimately I don't really like living in the city either. About, I would say 6 months ago, my husband Brandon kind of came to me and was like, hey, I don't want to stay here forever. And I was like, hey, I don't really either, but I can see myself staying here for the next couple years because I really like my job that I recently started. About 3 months ago, I started a new job as a social media coordinator and I absolutely love it. So that was kind of the only thing that was really keeping me here. After living here for a few months, I just started to feel a little bit squished, I guess. I think the main issue that I have with living in the city is, yes, there is a lot to do, but nothing feels accessible. In order to go anywhere in the city, you have to go through awful traffic and everything's just really spread out. And maybe this is just an Indianapolis thing, but for us, it just got to the point where we would get home and we'd be like, okay, do we want to go out to dinner tonight? And the answer would be no, because we would have to drive somewhere and it just is annoying and not the vibe. It is not the vibe for us. And we would, want to go on walks or go to a park, but you literally have to drive. Currently where we're living, you have to drive in order to get to all of those places. Obviously, if you live downtown, that's different, but the better area you're in the city, the more expensive it's going to be, and it just was not for us anymore. And then obviously we were also kind of missing family and friends and mainly just the connections that you have in a small town. There's more people here and there's more opportunities here, but Brandon has been trying to find a different job since we moved here, and largely jobs are networking, and when you're in a small town and you know lots of people, networking is a lot easier. So we were just missing those connections, and ultimately we decided that we wanted to move. So the first thing that we did was we found a house. So it is a 2-bed, 1.5 bath house that does have an upstairs, which we're very excited about. It is more square footage than our current apartment, and the finishes are not honestly as nice, but it is gonna be about $300 a month cheaper, which we don't need it to be cheaper, but we are saving for a down payment on a house, which means the more that we save on rent, the more that we can save for that down payment and the faster that we ultimately can get out of renting, which is a big goal of ours. So ultimately, it was just a really good decision for us to kind of get that cheaper housing. And we're really excited to have a house and a backyard, and it's a really good neighborhood that we're gonna be able to walk around, and just, we're so close to everything that we know and that we love. We can get to parks really easily and to restaurants really easily and to our friends really easily, and we're just really excited for that. We did find this house about a month ago, and we did actually sign the lease starting at the beginning of July, but our landlord was nice enough to have it like prorated to mid-July. So actually today is July 18th, and that is the first day that we technically have possession of the house. We are still continuing to rent this place until the 9th of September. So we do have a little bit of overlap, but luckily we did have some savings and some extra paychecks that we were able to kind of move around and pay for all of that extra rent, which was kind of annoying, but it really just allowed us to secure the house. I will be posting a full empty house tour. It might be associated with another video, like it might be that and then also a packing or unpacking video, so be on the lookout for that. Obviously I will show you guys all of the inside and all of the decorating and all of that fun stuff. I'm so excited to decorate a full house. We have a front porch and we're gonna get rocking chairs to put on it, so I'm so excited for all of that content and for all of those things. So that's kind of the housing update and kind of why we're looking to move. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, when Brandon first brought up the idea to me of moving, I was kind of sad about it, and I honestly felt like I was gonna have to settle with jobs, and I was leaving a job that I finally was excited about and I liked for a job that maybe I wasn't gonna be as excited for. But luckily, when I started applying for some jobs, there were a couple things that came up that I was very excited for. So to kind of give you guys a rundown of everything that I applied for a full-time position, 2 part-time positions, and then I was like talking to another company that was just kind of potentially looking at maybe hiring me as a contract person or part-time, going into full-time, something along those lines. And there were a couple of those jobs that I was very, very excited about. I'll get into that in a second. But basically I ended up having like 6 interviews within the span of a week and a half, which was a lot. Luckily, they were all Zoom interviews and I didn't have to drive back up north. So I'm super happy that the companies were able to do Zoom interviews with me. And you may be asking, Stacey, how in the world did you have time to do all of these interviews? And the answer is I did them all on my lunch breaks in my car, which you may think, wow, that seems really unprofessional. But what I did was I created a white background, just white, and I created it on Canva. So it was just a white background that I downloaded and then stuck on Zoom so that it was just a white background. I would have used a blurry background because that is an option on Zoom, but you could still tell that I was in a car and I didn't really want that. So I made it a white background. Every single person that I hopped on a Zoom interview with was immediately like, wow, you look so professional. I'm like, thanks, I'm secretly in my car. Pro tip, if you don't have time off of work, you can do it on your lunch break with a white background on Zoom and no one will know any better. So after doing all of those interviews, I was actually offered 2 of the positions, and I actually haven't heard back about the other 2, but one of the positions, which was a part-time position, actually liked me so much on my first interview that they wanted me to apply for the executive director role with them, which was also open. And essentially they are willing to kind of move around the job description, so it's very much marketing focused. And that brings me to the update that I am going to be the executive director of a chamber of commerce back near my hometown. I'm not going to say specifically what town, just for some privacy, but I am super excited for the role. It is hugely marketing focused because Chamber of Commerce, if you don't know, essentially help market businesses in the community and help market the community in general, and essentially just make connections and promote businesses in the community, which is so exciting to me. I have so many ideas for Instagram Reels and TikToks that I can make promoting the community and the businesses and basically just everything. I'm just so excited for the role. And like I said, it is a significant pay increase. It's about a 40% pay increase, which is absolutely phenomenal. And it's gonna be a pretty flexible schedule, so I'm gonna kind of be able to make my own hours, and it will be a lot of like random hours and like events and things on weekends sometimes, but I'm super, super excited for it, and I love the community that it is already, and I'm just excited to make it an even better community. So I will be taking you guys along on that as much as possible. Obviously, there's privacy things that I can't be completely open about what I'm doing, but obviously I'll take you guys along, and I'm very excited for it. If you guys do want some tips on how I was able to get that job and some interview tips and all of that sort of thing, let me know in the comments. I've already made, I think, 1 video on some interview tips, but I think I learned a lot this week, and I think I have some good wisdom to give you guys. So if you are interested in that, make sure to let me know. So that kind of brings me to the future and what this channel is gonna look like. Obviously, I do make some indie content. So if you're here for that, I'm sorry that we are moving, but I think there's a lot of fun and exciting things happening here in the future. I definitely want to make some videos looking at the difference between living in a small town versus a big city. And I would love to make some content on like romanticizing small town living, because I know a lot of people live in small towns and there's honestly not a lot of representation on YouTube of those people and what it's like to live in a small town and how you can make the most of it. I feel like everyone is like, move to the city and your life will be better, but honestly, I think our lives are gonna be happier and we're actually making more money and we have better job opportunities in a small town, which is kind of shocking, but I do think it's true. So I'm very excited to make some content surrounding that. Obviously, I'm going to be doing a lot of house decorating, and as we save for a down payment on a house, I'll bring you guys along on that journey. And hopefully, with the fact that we're going to be making a little bit more money and I do actually automatically get 2 weeks of paid vacation, hopefully we'll be doing some traveling here in the near future. So very excited for some travel content. And of course, I will be bringing you guys on days in my life and weeks in my life. Obviously, I'm not sure what that's going to look like right now, especially with moving into a job that's a little bit more of a flexible schedule, but I of course will be bringing you along for all of that. I also am going to be going back to a real gym and not just an apartment gym. So y'all know, if you've been here for a while, that I am very passionate about fitness, but that hasn't been a huge focus of my channel here recently, but I would love to bring you guys along more on some fitness content and lifting content specifically. I'm so excited to get back to some barbells and start deadlifting and squatting and bench pressing and all of those fun things again. So yeah, it'll still be me here. It's just gonna be in a different city. And honestly, I feel like a lot of the content here in the past couple months has just been me here in my apartment. And I think honestly, we'll probably get out a little bit more once we move back to a small town. So those are the updates. I know there were kind of a lot of them. New job, new city, new place of living, house instead of an apartment. Those are the updates, and be on the lookout for all of the moving content here very, very soon, because we are actually moving on Sunday. I'm filming this on a Monday. You guys are seeing it on a Thursday, and we will be moving on the Sunday after that. I am gonna stop rambling, and with that, I will see you guys in the next one.